Salams and welcome to Stories from Medical School. In my training years at medical school and at Paraguanath Hospital, Hillborough Hospital, and various hospitals, California hospitals, and so forth. This story today, I've spoken about dissection, the X, the next, and this story today is about my delivering my first baby. So let me know your stories. As what I told you, I love to hear your stories as well. There's too much shine on that. So as what I mentioned, spinal disability, gunshots, had to be resuscitated. My brother, elder brother, resuscitated me, CPR. Neighbors came to help. So please, South Africa, stop shooting us, stop shooting our doctors, stop shooting our friends and everybody. Stop going to people's homes. Okay, to cut a long story short, let me know your experiences of delivering your first baby. Or what about you? Did you deliver baby? Any mothers deliver babies. What about fathers? We've had some funny experience of fathers collapsing. We see this movie Friends, that famous movie Friends, Chandler and Rachel and Monica and all of them, and you see how this guy just drops when the babies are being delivered. Okay, so let me know your funny story. So let me just explain very briefly about myself, my experience. This was at although I studied at Johannesburg at Witwatersrand, we were then sent to community service. So I was sent to Port Elizabeth. So the first baby that I delivered was in Port Elizabeth. So even though we did a dissection of the human body in second year, we knew the anatomy of the male anatomy and the female anatomy in detail. We had done clinical exams. We knew how to use the speculum. We knew how to do internal exams, everything. But to deliver a baby is a totally different thing. So in that case, you cannot just deliver a baby. In this case, you must watch how a baby is being delivered at least 10 times. You had a little book and your senior must sign it off that have you actually watched with your own eyes, because anything can go wrong. We see everything, and it's actually it's amazing that so many things can go wrong, but they don't. That's what I find absolutely fascinating, and that is why I still consider up to today that the delivery of a baby is an absolute miracle. It's an absolute miracle. This little creature, this baby, has been swimming in water for 9 months. Now just think for a moment. A baby swims in water for 9 months, is an underwater breather, swimming like a fish for 9 months. The minute the baby is delivered, is no longer breathing water, now is breathing air. There's a change in the physiology, a change. Now that same baby, if you put it in the tub of water, it'll drown in 2 to 3 minutes. But for 9 months, the baby didn't drown. But now in 3 minutes, the baby can drown. Isn't that absolutely amazing? So Allah is indeed the most magnificent, the supreme, creator supreme, subhanallah. So the delivery of a baby is magnificent. So here in Port Elizabeth, it was during Ramadan, so we did our 10. Now it's my turn. I did my 10 observations. You can do more observations, but anything can go wrong. The easiest is the head down position. When the baby is coming out, you see the crown position. You can see the head. Or the other difficult one is the buttock position, is the breech, where the bum comes out first. That's a bit difficult, okay? But sometimes, even when it's a crown position, sometimes you get a shoulder dystocia. The shoulder can get stuck. Or they may be having twins or conjoined twins. So then you've got to rush the baby, the mother to theater for an emergency Caesar. Or sometimes you need to have a forceps delivery, or a suction pump, or assisted delivery. Someone pushes from the top while you're delivering from the bottom. But all the time, the minute you have the patient, you start the internal examination, the cervix starts dilating 1 centimeter per hour. But if it's a first baby, it can take 1 centimeter every 2 hours. It can be about 20-hour labor. It can be very difficult. Okay, so the more babies you have, the quicker the delivery becomes, right? So now I'm sitting there and I'm watching. Now me, I don't rush into things. Now I've been allocated a patient. He's a young 19-year-old colored girl from Port Elizabeth, and she's a single mother. Her husband ran away, her boyfriend. Well, not her husband, she wasn't married, so her boyfriend ran away. She got no family there. She's all alone and she's terrified, she's scared. Now it's my job, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. There's no one there. The whole hospital is quiet. Our professors are sleeping. The registrars are sleeping. They say, you know what? It's your job now. You got a problem? You call us. Now me, I like to think. You see, I'm a thinker, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah. So I think and I watch what's going on. I don't talk much. I love to talk, but initially I love to watch. I observe my environment. I observe what is going on. So I look at the matrons. The nursing staff, they are fabulous, very, very good. When you go into a maternity ward, your best friend is a nurse, and especially the matron. She's delivered thousands of babies for 20, 30 years. She's seen everything. She's whatever type of delivery you've seen in a textbook, she knows it in her brain. She's seen the shoulder dystocia, the normal births, the episiotomies, the emergency. She's seen everything. Make her your best friend. So I'm watching the matrons. I made the matron my best friend, walking around, talking around, and then I'm seeing something strange going on. Because remember, I'm talking about a provincial hospital in a semi-rural area. I'm not talking about a private hospital. I used to run a private hospital. Private hospital, you look after the staff very well because they are paying money from the medical aid. And in any case, that's my philosophy, that your patient, your customer is king. You look after the patient. But in this particular provincial hospital, and I won't give the name, the patients were not treated like a king. Some of the patients were actually assaulted. Keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. Because the nursing staff want to sleep at night. 1 o'clock in the morning, they want to sleep. And the mother is crying, they make a noise. But then I found something interesting by observation. And this happens in other cultures as well. There's a problem, and I don't understand it much. There's a problem between the Sotho and the Xhosa and the Zulu, I don't know, and the Ndebele. When I was growing up in Struven Street, we used to have these people come from the villages. They had these big round things around the necks. We used to call them, I don't know, the Mopoker or the Ndebele. I don't know what they were called, or maybe the Shan people from the Khoisan. I don't know, but they had these big things around the neck, the coils. And now a nurse won't talk to a person who's maybe a Xhosa or a Sotho or a Zulu. He said, nah, I don't want to talk to that person. And I found it very strange. I said, but that's a human being. They said, no, no, no. So I went quietly and asked the matron, what's going on there? Why are they shouting at that person? They said, no, 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 it's a cultural problem. To cut a long story short, the only thing I did, this girl is terrified. I sat with her and I started talking to her. I found out about her background. As I'm examining her, I'm explaining what I'm doing. Finally, 5 o'clock in the morning, we delivered the baby, a wonderful boy. But I had to do an episiotomy. Now, to cut a woman in the most sensitive part of her body, in her private organs, it's very difficult for a human being. Now, you got to cut. If you're not going to cut, and this is a first-time pregnancy, okay, you cut the episiotomy. If you don't cut it, she can tear the perineum. Then it's major problems. She can have a fistula. She can tear into the rectum, or the bladder can tear. So sometimes you got to do that cut, but it's a very difficult decision to make. But so even though you put your lignocaine, your lagnocaine, you do the episiotomy, and then the baby, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, the baby was delivered well. It took a long time, but the baby delivered well. And then you got to then put your hand in, make sure the placenta products, and that's very important. After the baby is born, the afterbirth, make sure that all the little flowers there are all accounted for. If not, you put your hand inside, you take out with your hand, you clean out the womb from the inside. You don't leave the clots or products of conception known as the POCs. If you leave that inside, you have puerperal fever. The patient can get very sick and go into ICU. So once all of that was done, I sutured the episiotomy. I'm sitting. Now I'm tired. I want to go now for breakfast because it's been a long night. As I'm about to leave, now remember, I'm still a student. I'm not yet a fully qualified doctor. This is about a fourth year or fifth year. I think fourth or fifth year. I can't remember now, in Obs and Gyn, around in Port Elizabeth. And as I'm going, she calls me back. She said, Doctor. I said, yes. She said, can I ask your name? So I just said, Adam. That's all I said. And she said, my son, I'm going to name him Adam. Can you imagine? I did nothing special for that lady. The only difference I did, the nursing staff knew more than me, but they were so frustrated with seeing the same routine every day. They were just telling the patients, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. Then this is a life lesson. The only thing I did was a random act of kindness, and I've used that throughout my life. Be kind to other people, and that's what Islam teaches us. Be kind to another human being. You don't know what that girl is going through. So this 19-year-old girl, I did nothing special. The only thing I did, I sat down with her 1 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock. Until she delivered the baby. And I was just calming her down. She didn't know what was Lama's breathing training. So I was telling her, deep breathing exercise. I was explaining to her what is going to go on. I was explaining to her, before I did anything, I was explaining to her, now I'm going to do an internal exam. I'm going to do it. Why? Because I'm doing this. Now the cervix is no longer 3 centimeters. Now we're at 9 centimeters. It's about time now. So I'm keeping her updated. She was so grateful. So today, somewhere in Port Elizabeth, there's a fellow called Adam, because her mother showed appreciation for a stranger doctor, a young doctor who didn't know what he was doing, just because he showed an act of kindness. This is the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything we have is we say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So that is a life lesson. So you don't have to be a doctor to be kind to another human being. We have homeless people, we have poor people, we have people who are struggling, we have people who have illnesses. So please do a random act of kindness today, and let's make South Africa a better place. Let's make Africa a better place. Let's make the world a better place. Stay well, and remember, share with me your stories, share with me your comments. I love hearing the comments, even though I may not be able to reply to each and every one of you. But please share with me. It keeps me motivated. It keeps me encouraged. It keeps me going, doing more and more programs like this. Stay well and look after yourself.